Thank you very much for joining. Are you under pressure looking forward to that game between Arsenal and Tottenham? Because Arsenal have major injury crisis and one of their superstar players will not get to feature today, talking about Declan Rice for that red card he got against Brighton.
Well, the word pressure, I think, has been overused. And listening to different analysts at the course of the week, after the international break, the league EPL starting again, and Arsenal being the main focus going into the North London derby, we could hear without words turned cliché already. Pressure. Are you scared? Are you up for this game? Do you think Arsenal would win, despite the injury crisis to Odegaard? Mind you, in the press conference yesterday on Friday, Arteta was still optimistic that Odegaard could feature. He did not rule him out. But we'll wait to see the matchday squad that will come out today. If Odegaard tends to be part of it, I would not be surprised because Arteta didn't rule him out. And the other injury to Merino joining, not even kicking the ball for Arsenal and getting injured in training, and Rice being suspended with what happened against Brighton. I know it has turned the whole Arsenal fan base into a frenzy, and a lot of them are hitting the panic button. But Arteta being the second highest paid manager, I think this is a time where he ends his con, and this is where he needs to show stability and he needs to show adaptability. If certain X number of players are not available, this is where you have to go into your squad. A lot have argued that the Arsenal squad is not that big, doesn't have depth, but I think this is the opportunity for Arteta to show himself and show that, yes, this is why I am the second highest paid manager in the EPL, and this is what I can do to resuscitate or revive Arsenal going into the North London derby despite the injury crisis.
Now, talking about the injury crisis and Arsenal's performance, especially with Mikel Arteta, some fans are of the opinion that we should already give the title to Manchester City and other teams should battle from second to the last position. And some other sections of the fans believe that Arsenal and Liverpool are the only teams that can battle Man City for the league title. But for 2 seasons now, Arsenal has finished behind Manchester City. And the major fact is that Arsenal have not been able to get a striker who will get them 20 goals per season. That should be a cause for worry.
Well, yes, a cause for worry, but with benefit of hindsight, when you look at it, look at last season, Arsenal scored over 90 goals without having a top 9. I think they've been able to share scoring of the goals around. They're not really dependent on a particular player to score in the goals. If you look at the front line, Havertz had his own contribution, Saka had his own contribution, Martinelli didn't have a good season last season, but he had his own share as well. And also, Gabriel Jesus coming on and off, was able to have his own input into the team last season, and they scored over 90 goals in the EPL. And so that brings the question, why do you need a striker? Arteta and Edu would argue that they could argue, or which they've done, they've gone out to do it. The summer has ended, the transfer window for the summer has ended, and they didn't bring in a striker. They're comfortable in still continuing in what they used for last season. If you look at it, where they focused on was just the midfield and the defense. Added 1 or 2, added a bit to that just to stabilize it. But I think they're comfortable with the attack line and they're ready to go. And Arsenal fans would want that striker, that person that would take the chances. Look at Man City. Let me just cite that as an example. Yesterday, against Brentford at home, Brentford played Man City toe to toe. Even in the first 10 minutes, Brentford could have gone 2-0 or 3-0 up. Yeah. But you could see that yesterday, Manchester City going down 1-0, came back 1-1, just had that chance to score. Haaland 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, took the chances, and that is it. So that is the fine margin. Arsenal don't have that kind of poacher that would see a chance and take it. And I think this is where the Arsenal fans are coming in to request for a striker, a poacher that would take chances. Havertz, with all due respect to him, Havertz is not that kind of finisher in the mode of Haaland. And if you look at Man City right now, they have a Haaland that any one-on-one, 10 out of 10, he will convert 9 out of that 10.
Right.
Havertz against Brighton, despite Arsenal being one man down, had a one-on-one, couldn't convert. So that is just a fine margin. And I think I understand the grouse of the Arsenal fans wanting a striker.
Right, in wanting a striker, the same Arsenal fans will want a victory later today against Tottenham Hotspur. So what would be your take? Because we're not sure if Gabriel Jesus will play that game. Jurgen Timber, Bukayo Saka, there's Martin Odegaard who is surely going to miss that game. Declan Rice will miss that game. Calafiori will miss that game because of injuries. Now, what will be your take? What are you expecting to see? Sterling stepping up to take a position in that one to help Arsenal, and possibly Ethan Nwaneri making the starting lineup.
Bringing Ethan Nwaneri into the fold today in a game with high magnitude, I think it will be unfair on Ethan, because really he's a 17-year-old boy, and training just like a philosophy, is either he sink or he swims. And I think Arteta would not want to use that approach. And I feel Arsenal have enough cover in that 10 area. And has not cover, but have someone to come in for Odegaard. We could see Trossard can play there. Trossard can play in that position. And also Saka, I've been hearing rumors, I don't know how true it is, that Saka can be drafted into that 10 position to play as a 10. And Martinelli plays on the wing. And Sterling coming into the fold might not start. I don't know, but he would want to have a bench. I'm sure Arteta would want to have someone he would want to call up from the bench when the game is getting into the 60, 70 minutes mark, and seeing how we can bring in players that stretch Tottenham, because we know Tottenham, they like to play high and they want to play high. So if you have someone like Sterling, or also have someone like Martinelli on the bench, either each of Martinelli or Sterling, that can come in and stretch the Tottenham defense when the game is getting close to the end. And I see Arsenal winning. I'm not bothered. I'm not really scared, despite the injury crisis. Rice is just missing this game, and he will be back for the Atlanta game in the Champions League, and also back for the City game. The only problem is Odegaard, and I know that is the only place Arsenal have not bought a cover for.
Yeah.
But there are players that can step in there. Trossard can step in there. Partey too can do one or two things there. Who knows? But I'm not really scared. I'm confident. Arsenal is taking a win. It's taking a W today.
All right,
not one derby. Spurs are not the type that would scare Arsenal. With all due respect to them, though.
You know, I was going to ask you the last question to make your predictions. Obviously, you want Arsenal to win, not just because you're an Arsenal fan, but because you believe solely in what Arsenal have produced for 2 seasons back-to-back now. But what would be your scoreline predictions?
You know, when it comes to the derby, form goes out of the window, and Arsenal has won 2, drawn 1. Tottenham has lost 2, and I don't know, if my stats serve me right, they've lost 2 this season and won 1. And, you know, form goes out of the window. If you look at it, Arsenal is on the ascendant here. Arsenal is in a better place in terms of team-wise, project-wise, but derby goes out of the window. Both teams are going to score, but I think Arsenal would have that depth enough to be able to nick a win and take the W home. And I hope I don't jinx them. I just hope for the W.
All right, we look forward to that one. Ehis Anthony expecting a W for Arsenal, and the Tottenham fans expecting a W for Tottenham Hotspur as well. But we'll look forward to it. It kicks off in a couple of hours' time, and we enjoy the very best of the North London Derby. Thank you very much, Ehis Anthony, for joining us today. We look forward to your team winning, and we'll be here to talk about it yet again. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.